All right, so we are ready to start. So, first of all, I want to invite you to know that you are the authority of yourselves. I am not here as the authority of you or your communication or your needs. So, if at any moment you need to stand up, if you need tea, if you need water, if you need to stretch, if you need to go to the bathroom and take care of your needs, please listen to your needs, to your bodies, to your authority, and do that. Some of you do not know me, so I see new faces, both online and here, and some of you do know me. And some people I have known for more than 20 years, like Daza here. Yeah. So I would like to introduce myself first. My name is Alejandra Siroka. I'm a transformative communication teacher and coach, and I'm completely 100% devoted to bringing forth more love, more connection, and decreasing divisiveness in our hearts, with one another, in our families, and in our world through conscious communication. I founded Language Alchemy. I noticed how I didn't say I created Language Alchemy, because Language Alchemy is an integration. It's an integration of what I have been learning most of my life. Since I was a kid, you notice my accent. By the way, accent changes every 30 miles. So if you go 30 miles from when you were born and raised and lived, your accent is going to be different. We all have an accent. My particular accent is a combination of Spanish is my first language. I was born and raised in Argentina. Then I lived in the Caribbean. Then I moved to the US as an adult. And I was trained as an interpreter and translator. And that meant doing a lot of things with my pronunciation and cadence. So that's my particular language. And I lived in Boston and also in California. So since I was very young, I was very interested in language and communication, especially because in my family, there was a lot of pain due to things that people have said to one another that elicited wars in my own family. I don't know what it's like to have aunts and uncles who talk to one another and who get together for the holidays without having received the message, you cannot say hello to that person, not this year. And so from a very young age, I was very interested in the kind of language that leads us to connection and the power of language that leads us to separateness, distraction, a split with others, and putting each other in groups that then we have to fight against. Language is very powerful and it can bring healing. So having learned or studied 5 languages, and then I became a translator and interpreter. I studied that, then I studied language acquisition, and then I studied consciousness, transformation, and leadership. And then I studied a lot of wisdom traditions since I was about 19. I integrated all these pieces from linguistics, social linguistics, neurolinguistics, and Buddhist psychology and cognitive psychology. So I rest. What I'm going to share with you is not my creation, it's my integration. I rest on the shoulders of people who have devoted their lives to bring forth more togetherness, more connection, more harmony, and more awareness in the world. This is not my own thing that I did alone. And this integration, which I call language alchemy, has 3 components. It is an awareness practice first and foremost. So we're going to be working a lot with bringing awareness to how we communicate and the impact that our communication has on ourselves, others, and the kind of lives we are creating in our communities. Number 2, it's a conscious communication approach, which is that we are going to look at how we are communicating now as adults and how the communication we bring forth with others is perpetuating ways that we do not agree with because it's not in alignment with our values, with our vision of the world and our hearts, but we have inherited them. And unless we bring them to our awareness, we will keep perpetuating certain systems that divide us and certain systems of oppression. And the third component of language alchemy is that it is a form of evolutionary activism. When we are able to communicate in more accurate ways and more in alignment with our values and our vision, we evolve as a family. We have this possibility and this precious sacred opportunity. That's what we're going to be doing here. And what did we say, Noam, second Sunday, roughly, of every month, you are welcome here today, and you're welcome to every second Sunday that we do here. It's drop-in. If you miss one of them, they're recorded. You can watch them on YouTube. If you want to watch the previous workshops, this is workshop number 4. If you want to watch the previous workshop, you can find them on YouTube. Go to the SF Dharma Collective. You'll find them there. Okay, and bring your friends. No one is turned around for lack of funds. I'm completely committed to bringing this work forth. And I need all of you. I cannot do it alone. We're all needed right now. And there's something else I want to say. Let's see. I want to give you a little kind of like journey of what we have done so that we know, and those of you who are here for the first time know what we're going to be moving into today. So in our first workshop, we talked about and we worked with the first language alchemy principle, which is that language is one of the most powerful tools we have available to communicate and relate to ourselves, others, and the world. And we did a lot of exercises around the power of language as a very powerful tool to relate and communicate and live our lives. Then in our second workshop, we worked on the second language alchemy, on another language alchemy principle, which is that the language we speak is a language we have learned. I have yet to meet someone who tells me I was born speaking. We learn the language we speak, not just how to say Mike. Well, we don't learn that as babies, but maybe like milk or mama or doggy or cold or water. But we also learn how to communicate when we feel gratitude, when we feel vulnerable, when we feel sadness, when we are bursting with joy. We have learned how to communicate in those ways. So that's what we worked on in our second workshop, and we did exercises around that. In our third workshop, we talked about how we are now adults. Okay, we have inherited these communication patterns, these ways of communicating. However, our being an adult is not just a physical suit that we're wearing. We need to have our communication grow up so that we communicate in alignment with the conscious, precious, compassionate, smart, loving, gentle, resilient adults that we are. And for that, we need to learn how to upgrade our communication and bring it up so that it matches our age and our wisdom. And so that's what we have done. And what we are going to be talking about today, the way we're going to work today, is integrating those principles and really working on how language influences our internal world and our external world. We're doing this in the context of perhaps a lot of pain that we are experiencing since November 6th. And we need to acknowledge that some people are celebrating. They're not in pain. And that is in part due to the language that we have been hearing and the language that has been fostering divisiveness amongst us. So this workshop, I also want to be very transparent with all of you because transparency is an important value for me. This workshop was scheduled for last Saturday. It was right after the election. And welcome, come and sit here. I want to invite you to come and sit here. And there was so much heartbreak internally for me that I needed to be with my own heartbreak before and metabolize that and work with it before I could show up and hold space for all of you. So I want you to know I'm very human, just like all of you. And last week, I needed other pairs of arms and I needed to be held so that I could say, yes, I am here and I'm fully here. So thank you for coming today. And I'm not sorry for scheduling because if I had shown up on Saturday last week, you would not have me as I am right now. And this is how I want to show up. So thank you. All right. So we are going to do many things. What I have done just now and the kind of introduction that I gave you was to prepare the kind of container that we're going to have today. And this container, we do lots of things to set the condition for success. Success will look like at 12 p.m. Pacific time, when we end this workshop, you will feel ignited to communicate more in alignment with who you truly are and less in alignment with the ways we have inherited that can perpetuate more divisiveness. So we need to do a lot of things to set the conditions for success. And I'm going to do something else, which is to invite you to consider that in order to have this container for these couple of hours, we need to bring forth certain values. And I'm going to show them to you. These are values related to multicultural communication. We're all multicultural beings, something we explored in our previous workshop. And that means we all have and have been influenced by various layers of culture, and our communication is influenced by all those layers. So I want to call in a sense of openness and curiosity. Openness to the fact that we have different communication styles. Openness comes from the heart to see that there's another human being who has learned to communicate in ways that are different from ours. Curiosity is a quality that comes from our head centers. It is to have a different kind of openness, not the openness of the heart, but the openness, curiosity is the openness of understanding that we're all unique. Your different ways of communicating, our different ways of communicating are unique, and we want to be curious about that. So I'm going to put here openness and curiosity. The second one is compassionate understanding. I, you, all of us may say things that may elicit pain and discomfort. Compassion is to have the ability to be with the pain of others and the pain of our own pain. So when we extend compassionate understanding to the way others are communicating, when someone's saying something that maybe we feel hurt by, let's also extend that understanding that maybe the other person is in pain. Welcome. Hello. I'd like to invite you to sit here in the front row so that we're creating a circle together. Thank you. The next one is trust and transparency. One of my dearest teachers that many of you know, Jennifer Wellwood, has this beautiful phrase that that is, do not be afraid, be confident. I want to say, do not be afraid of hurting one another. Be confident that with your communication, sometimes you're going to hurt others, and trust in your capacity that you can repair that hurt. And because we're human beings and we have inherited a language that pins us against one another. So yes, we are going to hurt others. And we need to learn to repair that hurt so that we can heal and connect again. Sometimes in a more powerful way than before. And have the transparency. I'd love to create with all of you, co-create a space where we have the transparency to say, I feel uncomfortable right now. Or I'm feeling hurt, or I have skepticism about what I'm hearing right now. It is all welcome. I would love to co-create a space with all of you in which there is belonging for all of us, and there is a sense of warmth and the understanding that we are all here because we all want to learn, myself included, how to show up in a way that we are now needed in this world. And for that, we need to create a sense of safety so that we can all belong. And how do we create that? With a sense of warmth. Yeah, you may be saying something now that I feel triggered by, and you showed up here to learn to communicate differently. I can extend that sense of warmth to you. So that leads us to having humility. We're all human. The word humility and human have the same etymology. It means being from the earth, humus. And to have the psychological and intellectual maturity that sometimes our impact is not going to match our intention. That sometimes we may have a very good intention and the impact will not be what we wanted it to be. And so when someone tells us what the impact of our communication is, we are going to do our best to open up and listen rather than defend our intention. If I see a child who's hurting, what do I want to do? Do I want to say, how can I help you? Oh, let me see where you're hurting. Or do I want to say, well, I didn't put that rock in there for you to step and, to fall. Do we want to give a lot of explanation or do we want to tend to? So for us adults in adult relationships, it requires humility and it requires maturity. Then I want to invite you to listen with presence. This is going to be, I know I'm talking a lot right now because we're setting the conditions for success, but this is not a lecture. This is a participatory experience. So all our voices are needed. I'm going to ask for all our voices to be here. And that also means that when someone is speaking, if we have the tendency to then not listen and plan what we are going to say, I want to invite you to relax and make the space to learn from somebody else. In fact, you're more likely to learn from somebody else here other than me. We're here to learn from one another. I'm here to learn from you and to share with you. Okay, we have a few more because these are all the values of multicultural communication, and there are several. We can hold complexity as adults. It doesn't have to just be like 1, 2, 3 steps. We have the ability to hold complexities. So the next one is authenticity. And that means a lot of us confuse authenticity with, let me tell you and let me unload on you what I think about this or about you. That is not authenticity. That's not having the maturity and the humility to say, what I'm hearing right now is, oh, my stomach is churning with what I'm hearing. That would be greater authenticity than, let me tell you what I think about this right now. Also, the etymology of the word authenticity has to do with author. So be the author of your own communication. Let's do all we can to stop repeating patterns of communication we inherited that has led to a lot of people make decisions that are going to impact us all. And when I say us all, with the decisions that have been made in our country, the United States, the whole world is going to be impacted, not just the US. I'm getting ahead of myself here. I want to invite a sense of tolerance and respect. So sometimes in these circles, we talk a lot about let's respect one another and let's respect our different opinions. But before we can move into respect, we need to be able to tolerate different opinions. We need to be able to tolerate the idea that there are different ways of communicating. Once we can really tolerate that, then we can do the work to move into respect. Can I ask you, Augusta, maybe to put it next to authenticity? Thank you. And one of my favorites that not everybody loves is the willingness to explore discomfort. And why is it that we don't love this? Because we have inherited, and especially as things have been speeding up, we have inherited a language that says, I just need to have fun all the time. And, I'm entitled to fun and to being relaxed and to just like be, okay all the time. If we're going to show up in this world that needs us with humility and maturity, we need to have the capacity to explore being uncomfortable, because that is what is going to allow us, not being in panic, but just having a little tolerance for discomfort to grow and to stretch into new communication skills that are needed right now and in our future. Okay, can I ask you? Thank you. Related to authenticity is authority of your own experience. If we want to share an opinion, and opinions are welcome, let's start by saying, I would like to share an opinion. But if it is an experience, then let's just say, I want to share something I have experienced. So let's have the authority of knowing when we are expressing our experience, and if it's something else, I have a thought, I have a judgment, then let's be the author of that and authentically share that. Okay. So that also requires a lot of bravery. We are here at the SF Dharma Collective. It's a grassroots organization, a peer-led Sangha that works tirelessly and is devoted to the liberation of suffering. And we do a lot of meditation. Many of us are meditators, spiritual practitioners. And we have many spiritual practices. And we have words like spiritual warriorship, which I want to invite us all to retire. When Trungpa Rinpoche, and I see some people laughing here and also online and smiling, when Trungpa Rinpoche brought this idea of spiritual warriorship, he spoke in his language, and his interpreter interpreted that as being a spiritual warrior. There is another interpretation of the word, which of course I don't know, in Tibetan, which translates as bravery. We need to be brave. Don't you think we have too many wars? Do we need to keep bringing weapons, and is that what our world needs? Or do we need the bravery to stand up? Yes, protect, defend, work forth, and learn to mediate with one another rather than go to war with one another. So I want to invite bravery rather than spiritual warriorship. I am not a spiritual warrior. I want to invite also a sense of equality. And equality here means the understanding that your voice, your experience is as important, as valid, as needed as mine and everybody else's. So let's, in this time that we have together, create the space for that. Okay, let's move it to that side. Diversity, even though you may like, yes, this is obvious. Sometimes when we are communicating, we need to be obvious. I want to invite you to be more explicit and more obvious. Other people cannot read our minds. So sometimes we think of diversity as an abstract concept. Oh, yes, let's embrace diversity. But when our partner has a different communication style than ours, we're not embracing diversity. When our cousin voted in a different way, we're not embracing diversity. When someone on the street is behaving in a way that we don't appreciate, we're not embracing diversity, which is not the same as accepting everything. It just means let's have the understanding that there are different ways. There are different ways of communicating. Okay. Last but not least, very important, confidentiality, which means that if you want to share about this with others, even though it's going to be put on YouTube, but how you can share about what you're learning here is from your experience. Be the author of your experience rather than, there was a woman there who was wearing this and this and that, and her name is so and so, and you can't believe what she said. Oh, that person's an idiot. Oh, that would increase divisiveness and perpetuate systems that we are trying to dismantle here. When we're able to, I'm not asking you to embrace everything that I mentioned here, but I'm asking you to choose one of these values of multicultural communication to with which you would like to show up. Because when these values are present, we are able to co-create together and fulfill the two most important needs that all human beings have at all times, regardless of age, psychological development, nationality, skin color, ethnic group, gender identification, religion, immigration status, class, level of ability, which are safety and connection. We all need safety and connection to be able to survive and thrive as human beings. So when we're able to bring forth these multicultural communication values, then we get closer to creating a space where safety and connection can exist for all of us. So put these at the center here. You've heard lots of words right now. And I'd like to ask you for a moment to close your eyes. Let all the words that you have heard sort of like come downwards to the heart, to your heart, as if they were fresh, beautiful drops of rain. Noticing what is in your heart right now. Being with your heart as it is in this moment. Welcoming your heart exactly as it is. Tend to your heart and welcome it. Whatever is here, make space for it. Notice what it's like to be with your heart exactly as it is right now. Maybe your heart feels full. Maybe it feels tender. Maybe it feels strong, pulsating with life. Maybe it is illumined. Maybe there's anguish. Maybe it's shattered. However it is, be with your heart right now. Accompany your heart in its experience. Notice how breath comes in and out of the heart. With the next few in-breaths, give your heart what it needs. With your next out-breaths, let your heart go of what it no longer needs in this moment. With each inhale, give your heart what it needs. With each exhale, let your heart go of what it no longer needs right now. Having a sense of reciprocity and mutuality with your heart and life itself. And now notice what it's like to be with your heart right here in the presence of others. Others in this room, others on Zoom, joining from their own physical spaces, co-creating another community together in this space held by the SF Dharma Collective, a grassroots community of Sangha-led people, beings who want and work forth the liberation of others and themselves and ourselves. Who devote their time, energy, attention, resources to have even created this physical space here on unceded Ramaytush Ohlone land. And now take a moment to notice which of these values of multicultural communication you want to bring forth today. It doesn't matter whether you know how to. Just notice which of these values that we shared earlier, just a few minutes ago, is in alignment with your values for these next 90 minutes. Thank you. Thank you. And we are not done setting the conditions for success, because the only voice you've heard is mine. I'm not here alone. I'm with all of you. So we need to hear your voices. And to do that, I am going to start by asking one of you to say your name out loud. I am going to respond to that person. And then we're going to move into the next person and the next person and the next person. And I'd like all of you to respond in the same way I'm inviting you to respond. And then I'll be the last person, and we're going to be connecting both with people in the room and also people on the screen. So how about beautiful being with striped socks? You share your name, and you can also share the pronouns you go by.
My name is Augusta, and I go by she.
Augusta, welcome. Your voice matters.
Thank you.
And now you're going to say the same thing to the next person. So say your name.
My name's Tom, and my pronouns are he and him.
Thank you, Tom. Your voice matters.
Thank you, Augusta.
My name is Daza, and my pronouns are he, him, and his.
Thank you, Daza. Your voice matters.
And welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, you're welcome here.
My name is Laura, and my pronouns, excuse me, are she, her.
Thank you. Your voice matters.
Hi, my name is Heather. My pronouns are she, her.
No.
Oh, that's right.
Welcome, Heather. Your voice matters.
My name's Jimmy, and pronouns are he, him.
Welcome, Jimmy. Thank you. Your voice matters.
Katina, she, her.
Thank you, Katina. Welcome. Your voice matters.
Ben, he, him.
Welcome, Ben. Your voice matters.
I'm Eitan, he, him.
Welcome, Nathan. Your voice matters.
I'm Britt, he, they.
Can you put your name?
Britt.
Britt. Welcome, Britt. Your
I'm Lily. My pronouns are she, her.
Welcome, Lily. Your voice matters.
Thank you.
And choose someone from online. You'll have to get close to the screen to see their names.
About to get really close. Tia.
My name is Tia, she or they.
Welcome, Tia. Your voice matters.
Thank you.
So unmute yourselves on Zoom. Someone say your name and the pronouns you go by.
We're getting there.
I'm Caitlin. I use they, them pronouns.
Welcome, Caitlin. Your voice matters.
I'm Rita. My pronouns are she, her.
Welcome, Rita. Your voice matters. Thank you.
Mo, pronouns he, him.
Welcome, Mo. Your voice matters. Here.
My name is Mercy. My pronouns are she, her.
Welcome, Mercy. Your voice matters.
I am Sandy. My pronouns are she, they.
Welcome, Sandy. Your voice matters.
Hi, my name is Sam, and pronouns are she, her.
Welcome, Sam. Your voice matters.
My name is John. My pronouns are he, they.
Welcome, John. Your voice matters.
I think we have a couple more people.
We do. Dana, you up for it?
Said their names yet?
My name is Dana. Pronouns are she, her.
Welcome, Dana. Your voice matters.
Noam, my friend.
Yes, I'm in the room and on Zoom. I'm Noam, and I use he or they pronouns.
Welcome, Noam. Your voice matters. My name is Alejandra, and my pronouns are she, her, ella.
Welcome, Alejandra.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. So I'd love to hear, how do you feel after right now? What's present for you right now? How do you feel? Could be a body sensation, could be a feeling word.
Relieved that that went smoothly.
Relieved, yes, that went smoothly. How else? Yeah. A little sleepy, and waking up, yes.
I feel some warmth after this nice little circle.
Some warmth, yeah. Thank you. After this nice little circle. How are people on Zoom?
More
It feels like-
connected. Sorry.
More connected.
Okay. It feels like there's like a little ball of resonance or whatever from my chest that just kind of extends out.
Yeah.
And we have some responses in the chat. Rita says included, and Catalin says calm, warm, and grateful. And I am excited. Like that was it's like a combination of Jimmy's relieved and also like learning new process. So I'm just excited.
Yeah, you're welcome. Wonderful. Anybody else?
I'm feeling a sense of warmth and open-heartedness at being together in this community with these beautiful shared values.
Yeah. Augusta? Curious. Curious about how we will proceed. Okay, I'm going to tell you in just a second. I want to keep the space open. Anybody else wants to share?
I feel both warmth and a little cautious.
Warm and cautious.
It feels like we've done easy stuff.
We've done easy stuff. Okay. You're like, oh, now the uncomfortable stuff is going to come. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Heather?
I think I just feel like a moment of humanity, of like acknowledgement of the others in the room and being acknowledged by the others in the room. I think oftentimes we don't always start there. So it's like, it feels really almost like.
Can people hear? Yeah. Yeah.
I talk loud sometimes.
Love it. Yeah. So like a moment of humanity. Yeah. What does that do to your heart?
Seeing as I started the exercise with, I'm going to screw this up,
Oh.
it opened it because I was like, it's okay. There's not an expectation of perfection. It's a moment of expression and connection.
Yeah.
Which is very different.
Yes. Maybe one day we'll talk about perfectionism and white supremacy.
Maybe let's not start there.
We're not going to start there today. We're not going to start there today. We're going to do something different. And what are we going to do next? Because our mind wants to know, okay, we have set these beautiful conditions for success. Let's dive into some discomfort, into some sacred, mature, wise, capable discomfort so that we can grow. So I want to share with you that I'm going to explain something, which is how with language, how we use language to then relate to the world we're living in and to experience the world we're living in. And then we're going to do an exploration that's going to be people on Zoom, stay, do not leave, because sometimes at this moment, people start disappearing. We're going to do a role play that's going to be a community role play that's going to last about 20 minutes. And people on Zoom, you will have the ability to participate in two different ways. You have choice. You are an adult and you have choice. Please don't leave. Stay. We need to learn to stay when it's uncomfortable. So we are going to talk about first, as I said, we're going to continue building on the principles of language alchemy that we have been exploring before. And I want to start by doing a little graphic, 88, 22, 88. That's your cue. Okay. And so in this graphic,
Screen's gone blank.
let's see what we got, what we have.
We got it.
Yes. Okay. So this is what usually happens, and I hope that the folks on Zoom can see this, but I'm going to be mentioning what I write here. So usually we
Jimmy, can you move the mic closer to her, please?
Let's have the other mic.
This doesn't look like it's video.
Okay. Okay. So can you hear me now? Great. We usually have an experience. It could be any kind of experience. Someone is looking at us. Someone is talking to us. Someone didn't say hello to us. Someone crossed the street very fast and looks like they're walking towards us. We said hello to someone and that someone did not respond. So we have an experience, any kind of experience. The next thing that happens, I need more arms. The next thing that happens after we have an experience is that we have some kind of internal signal. That internal signal could be physical, like, oh, something happened, I didn't like it, or I'm very relaxed, I'm enjoying what happened, or it can be neutral, it could be a sense of curiosity, it can be some kind of feeling, oh, get triggered, uncomfortable, ooh, that feels, ugh, disgusting. So we have some kind of internal signal. And when we are children, and we worked on this on our second workshop, from 0 to 7, what we tend to do is that after this happens, we're like, oh, we're having an experience, and we cry, we stomp on the ground, we lick something to keep having that experience, exploring it, right? But it takes us 7 years to get the download of a language. And so after we have this signal, when we are adults, what we do is that we use language to name that experience, to label that experience. So we, after 7 years of age, we start thinking with language. Before we were exploring the world with our senses. But then we start thinking with language and we label that experience. And usually we say, because the language we have inherited is a binary language that's good, bad, right, wrong. And so we usually say, this experience is good, I like it, I like you. Or this experience is bad, you are bad, or I am bad for having this experience. So then, after we have this internal language, what do? I want to use the exact word that I have here on my graphic. So this language creates a view. It creates a view of we think it's our reality. And so now when I consider you as, I like you, now maybe I consider you as my friend, because that's my view of you now. Or I consider you as someone difficult, and that's my view of you. So then what happens when we have this view of ourselves, the others, our experience? What happens is that then let's go to the next step. We take action. And this action is based on the view that we have. This is when we communicate. So if I decided that I had a positive experience with you and my language, the labels I gave you were positive, my action might be I communicate with you sweetly, I smile, my body is open when I communicate with you. But if I didn't like what you said, if I felt uncomfortable, sad, triggered, then my action, my communication with you is maybe I withdraw. I don't say hello. I don't invite you to things. I move away from you. I avoid you. I do not include you. I recruit others to see you the way I see you and to take action against you because of my own discomfort. But instead of saying to others, I feel uncomfortable with that person, we say that person is bad, an idiot, ignorant, whatever, labels we give them. And so then we're recruiting others to treat that person that way. This is how we are creating divisiveness. And so after we take action, let's say that, I keep losing here my notes. What happens is that, let's say that I don't say hello to that person, I don't include them, I've recruited others to be against that person. And so what happens is that then that person, when they see me, they don't feel comfortable saying hello to me. And so now I have created kind of like this loop in which now the actions that I have taken are going to become my experience of reality. And then we say, well, this is reality, this is who you are. But in fact, we have created the whole thing based on our reaction because we didn't know how to stay with our signal and how to use language in a way that was not divisive, that didn't split us into myself and other. And so then we say, well, this is the experience that I have, and then we perpetuate that. So let's say you have a neighbor who puts their trash in your trash bin. And so when you see that, your signal in your body is maybe anger. And so then you start thinking of that neighbor as someone inconsiderate, rude, you give them lots of negative labels. Then you view that person as that. Let's say that that person looks different from you, then you start making them as the token and representative of a whole group of people who are like that, and then you take action against them. So, and then that becomes your experience. You start to look for, because of confirmation bias, you start to look for validation of the way you've seen them. And we have the world we have. So we need to take responsibility for our signal. And then we need to be aware of the kind of language we're having internally when someone is doing something we like or we do not like. Comments, questions, objections, all welcome.
Where were you 20 years ago?
Where was I 20 years ago? I was studying and getting prepared for all this, yes. Yeah. Is this useful? Okay, does this resonate? Yeah, I saw many of you nodding. Yeah.
I love the way you're mapping it out here. I mean, I came in thinking of a particular experience that kind of jarred me post-election, where somebody that I knew turned out to be, I didn't know this person at all, and therefore they're bad, and I hate them, and and I've got all kinds of reasons for that. It's not just that I'm like a petty, shallow person, although I probably am in some ways, but this person is thrilled that the election went the way it did, and it's because the stock market is going up, and so I felt like, how am I going to continue to have this aspiration to view all people with compassion when I was jarred in a certain way? So it felt like I guess there's the experience of hearing her talk the way that she did, and that signaled me to be like, ugh. And then you're saying that, so then I have this kind of internal language about okay, I get it. Yeah.
So she voted for Trump. I don't like her. I don't know her. I hate her. So then that's going to show up later in how we communicate with her. Yeah. And I've had many conversations this week with people who have had the same experience. And when in my communication coaching sessions, many of my clients brought things like that. And when we started looking into why would someone be so excited? There could be so many reasons that we don't know, and some that we may know that are human reasons. Then we can start to open our heart. And we will do that, but not just yet, because first we need to get another toe in more discomfort. Not just the intellectual discomfort of mapping this out, but actually experiencing it. So we're going to do a role play. And this role play is awesome. I love it. It's intense. And we are going to, I want to invite people on Zoom. You're going to have a, let me see what time it is. Okay, perfect timing. You have choice as to how you want to participate. I'm going to give directions to everybody. And people on Zoom, you will decide whether you want to be observers and take note, actual notes of how the communication is going, what you're noticing in the communication. So that's one way in which you can participate beautifully here. Another way is that you can choose to say, no, I want to be in the role play. And so no one will give you some instructions, and some instructions to us based on the word that you give. So you tell Tia and Noam in the chat which. I asked them to put an asterisk in front of their name. Perfect. Put an asterisk. Okay, so they know. Okay. Yes, beautiful. Okay. So here is our role play. We are all part of the SF Dharma Collective, and within the next 15 minutes, we are going to decide, actually, because we have all voted in the same way and we have the same values and the same vision for the world. We have decided that we're going to move all together and we're going to take the SF Dharma Collective, we're going to make it into an intentional community. So we have to find land. We have to define what this intentional community is going to be like. How are we going to be together? How do we distribute the tasks to find this land and this intentional community? Are there some activities that we need to make sure that we all do as part of this intentional community called the SF Dharma Collective, where we're going to move into and just, totally bubble ourselves and isolate ourselves so that we can have the kind of world we want right now all together and don't worry about anybody else? That's what we're going to do. It's a role play, okay? And if some of you are feeling like, I don't like participating in role plays, I want to invite you to remember that when you were a kid and you were playing with toys at 3 and 4, and you were talking out loud with these toys, you were role playing. That's how we learn language. That's how we learn to communicate. Now, so are the instructions clear of what we're going to talk about? Is it clear? We're going to talk about this intentional community that we're going to move into land, and we have to decide where and all this. Any questions about that? Okay. There's something else, though, which is that each of you is going to have a word. And I am going to put a word on you that you are not allowed to read. So there will be a word hanging from you, but you will not read this word. Can I get a yes, I will not read this word?
Yes.
I will try my best.
You'll try your best. Because if you do, the role play is not going to be as potent. So
Letting everyone down.
you're not going to be letting everyone down. You cannot let I wish you had that power, Heather, but you actually don't. You don't have the power to let everyone down. Yes. Okay. Yes.
When you said that, I was recently called in a jury duty type thing, and one of the attorneys was saying to somebody, there was a particular instruction he was saying to this person who's saying, well, can you do this thing? And the person said, I'm going to try my hardest. And the lawyer said, if you got on a flight to New York and the pilot came on the intercom and said, I'm going to try my hardest to get you to New York, what would you think? And I just loved that analogy. So, yes, just wanted to share that.
Thank you. Do not read it.
We can
Not read it.
we can read other people's words though, right?
Hmm?
We can read other people's
Well,
words.
inevitably you will.
Hard not to.
Yes. See, Laura closed
I'm committed.
her eyes. Yeah, she's committed.
She's like going full tilt, picking ink for me. You don't need to do that for me, I can control my own humanity.
Okay, hold on. I need to untangle some of these. Okay. Go. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. I just really love your.
Something spilled.
Oh, tea. I am so sorry. You spilled some tea. Thank you. Thank you for letting me put my hands on you. No, yeah, sure, whatever. You. Need some other words. Okay, yeah. Okay, thank you. Thank you for your trust. We have two more. Let's see. Okay. Oh, okay, thank you. And you. Nom, you need one, right?
Well, I don't know. Should I participate?
Of course.
There are no takers online, by the way.
No takers, so you're all gonna be observers? You're gonna observe, okay? Great, can you pick one for me? I don't wanna know which one it is. I'm gonna close my eyes. Okay, thank you. And we need one for you. Okay. All right. Okay, so here's the people online. You're going to notice how we are going to communicate with one another. Can you all, people in the room, read the words that each person has? Don't tell them. Okay, so we are going to start this role play. We're going to give ourselves 15 minutes. We're going to start this role play by talking about the kind of community, intentional community we want to have. I'm not able to, okay, here we go. And we are going to treat each other, taking action. This is, we got a signal when we met. And this is the language that we gave to each other was this language. This is the language you gave me. And the language we all gave you is that, and the language we all gave you is that. And so this is our view of you. Yeah?
That's the language
You gave this language is the language you gave me.
So this is how I think of
This is how you think of me. Yes. And how the whole community thinks of me. Yes. 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 And so as we try to communicate, because we view you that way, we are going to take action. We're going to communicate in the way in which we see that person. And so, I think Heather, you should start us off. I think you should. Now we're in role play, everybody. Role play. So, Heather, I think you need to tell us what's the first step. We want to have this community. What's the first step? And everybody chimes in whenever. This is popcorn.
Okay, well, where I would start is like, what's the outcome we all want to feel? And then how do we move towards that collectively? Instead of starting with like, here's a statement, let's unpack it. That's how I would start personally.
Do you agree? Augusta, what do you think? I mean, I think we should rely on you. If you agree with Heather's statement, then
Well, I think that's a good idea, but I also think, well, let's think about whether we're all really like-minded and we really want to have this community together in the first place.
That really makes a lot of sense. Yeah, it's a good idea.
really good idea. Okay.
You know, I'm sorry, I forget your name.
Of course you would forget his name. Yeah.
Yeah, well, of course you would say that to me. Because we all know. Anyway, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole.
You don't want to go any rabbit hole, I know.
Okay, I'll just won't say anything.
I was going to say, we should think about or talk about when we want to find land and go forward, and when's it going to happen.
Do you know any other people who might want to join us? Or is this it?
I'm not sure. I think if we talk more about the goals and objectives, might well know more.
Oh, come on, you know lots of people.
I'm holding out on you.
No, don't do that, okay? Just, pull in some of your connections.
And let's all try to speak very loud or pass our mics. Yes, yes.
I think one key thing we should figure out is financing.
Ouch, that's just like,
Like so insensitive
yeah.
to bring it up so quickly.
Get right down to it.
Financially solvent's one of my goals for our community.
Well, I really think that, we have to figure other things out before we can go into that. That just seems really premature to jump into the finances. We don't even have our goals yet, and sort of our connections.
Slow your roll is it?
I think it's important for us to really become clear on our shared values. That's a good start, I think.
Isn't that kind of ambitious, though? Isn't that kind of ambitious? I mean, we just...
Yeah, you would say that.
We can also think about where we want to go. I think that's an important part. It might help determine, our vision of what this community actually looks like.
Looks cosmetic.
That feels like a shiny penny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of an artificial, it's just for where we are. Thank you for that. I really think that Brett should weigh in.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, I want to hear from Britt.
I like what I've already heard.
Yes, that's wonderful. Yes, yes. Brett, yes.
Thank you for using the mic, and can we have a little more volume just all the way around, please?
Yes. Speak from your belly. What were you saying, Britt? Like, that was awesome what you just said. Can you say it again? Say it again. We need to hear it again.
So wise, even just thinking about it, you can see.
Yeah, it's so inspiring.
Don't worry, you won't say the wrong thing.
I believe that.
You can believe her.
Very astute.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with what's already been said. Yeah. Let's get back to I'm forgetting names.
So point to someone or give the mic. Let's get back to
I'm not so sure anymore. I don't know. I think, there's a lot of interesting ideas that have been put on the table. I think, I'm not sure how we get to consensus with just independent ideas and not a collective point of view.
Make charts.
I don't know that, that's a mechanism, not a means. But it's stuff, I would expect someone like you to go to that kind of problem solving. So I appreciate that.
Seems like we have a lot of. Wait. Oh, comment to you. Seems like we have a lot of different options.
Put the mic closer. Yeah. Yeah.
It seems like we have a lot of different options. Maybe the person here could weigh in on what path would be best for us to take with the flannel.
Like, wow, like you just wanted him, not anybody else to talk. You decided that he was the one. Yeah, why? Yeah. No rebuttal. Okay.
Well, I agree that the first step is for us to understand what our collective goals are, and maybe we need a mechanism by which to decide that in order to move forward with any kind of objective at all.
Totally.
Yeah, seems like it would save a lot of effort.
Yeah.
Well, I'll just jump in. I think my objective would be that we have a community that's based on equality, that everybody does a fair share of the chores and contributes equally without regard to, gender or age or.
I would like to, go ahead.
Yeah,
Do you think you'll really participate in that?
I'm not sure how to even respond to that, to be honest. I mean, that seems kind of hurtful, what you just said to me.
Sorry.
Do you not agree that we should have it? Do you have a different vision?
I do agree, but sometimes there's somebody in the group that just has these ideas and then they don't carry out their role.
Wise words.
You know what I mean?
Wow. Yeah, it's just wow. Yeah.
Well, every time you say you'll do something and we all are equal, and then you just don't follow up. It's just very disappointing.
I feel like everybody's just getting their feelings hurt, particularly you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think it's accurate. Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, always.
Don't fall apart, Ethan, my God.
Yeah, like
everything's like, ugh.
Laura, not everything is about feelings, It's just like life is not just like how do we feel about these things. No.
Yeah, I think we're just going to lose our center if we don't all know how we feel and move toward that. That's what you brought up at the beginning. How do we want to feel in this community? So what are we
I did that.
So what do you want to have, like a touchy-feely community? Is that what you're talking about?
I'd like it to be grounded in something that feels meaningful.
I vote with that as well. Yeah, I'm in favor of that.
But are you willing to do the work?
You're willing to do the work. You are willing to do the work.
You should just do the work.
Yeah, I am willing to do the work. I'm not sure that you are, but I am. We haven't heard from someone.
The touchy-feely stuff is all nice, but there are practical concerns that we need to address to actually get this to work. Money, yeah. Division of labor and where we're going to put this, not to harp on the same.
Most of you guys are just bringing negative energy into our group, I have to say. People don't have money in our group. We all can bring up the money. People, it's a sensitive issue for them. Why are you keeping to bring up that thing?
That's a great point. We should maybe talk about, like the center is donation based, that there could be like needs-based program or divide our community so that it is accessible to a lot of people, because I think someone mentioned equity as one of our values. I think that's something we can build into our financial
Are
plan.
you like criticizing me right now? Like someone mentioned equity. Like that sounds so passive aggressive. Oh, okay. Okay.
I don't want to set you off.
That feels really negative, and I think you should just really pay attention to, what you're bringing to this group, that negativity. That's just like.
So I've heard finances, I've heard where do we want to live, when do we want to go? Can we pick one and just get some sort of foothold of a decision?
Yes. Yeah, thank you.
I don't know if I like him.
I'm just kidding. You're doing this really well. You're like the guy in the movie that I'm like, "Mwah." I'm just kidding. Kind of.
Jimmy
Okay.
might have an idea.
Oh, yeah, Jimmy's really good at that stuff.
Yeah.
I think you can really shave down on all the fluff and get us,
Yeah.
get us on track.
Well, I agree that we need to pick one avenue at this point to move down. And I would think that the first step is to make sure that everybody here is on board with the idea of having an intentional community and literally uprooting themselves from their current situation and moving into the idea of having an intentional community and doing the work that it takes in order to get that done.
God, I didn't wash the dishes that one time.
While I appreciate what you're bringing forward, it's not just a head issue. Like, there's a lot of feelings here, and we all have to be able to move forward with our hearts.
What if we turned a page on this easel paper and then kind of noted the things that have been suggested and got shows of hands to see who wanted to do what and kind of nailed them in that sequence?
I mean, do you think maybe you know somebody who could come in and facilitate this group? Because we're clearly not getting anywhere.
Yeah, perhaps we are the change that we've been waiting for ourselves, but I could make a post on LinkedIn maybe and see who responds. I'm kind of taking the energy.
Augusta should chime in.
Say what now?
Augusta, I think should chime in.
I have no idea.
Better make it
None.
intelligent.
You have no idea.
Yeah, we're lost. We're
I
lost.
think you guys just need to figure it out yourselves, and I will sit back, and then maybe I'll have an opinion after that.
That's
Brilliant.
brilliant.
Do not look at your paper yet. Thank you.
Ring the lunch bell and I feel very relieved.
Very relieved. Okay, so now I would like to ask you, who in the room feels, and I ask the people on Zoom, both. So I'm going to ask this question for the people in the room, and then I would like to hear from the people on Zoom what you've noticed. Who in the room feels that they have power? Britt? Noam, a little bit. Daza? Jimmy? Yeah, okay. Who in, Jimmy, yeah. Anybody else feels like they have power about, that they count, their voice really matters? Anybody else? Okay. Who in the room feels that they don't have power no matter what they say? They're just, okay. Ellie? Lily? Sorry. Eton? Ben? Katina? Heather? Laura? And Tom. Okay. Yeah, I didn't either. Who started feeling shut down? Uh-huh. Okay. Who started feeling bolder? Uh-huh. Augusta. Yeah. Okay. So let's hear from people on Zoom. What did you notice about our communication? And I wish we had a camera there, you could see all of us. But what did you notice?
I'll give it a try. It was very hard to follow because we couldn't see the people speaking. So,
Yeah.
But in general, I would say that people were not really being responded to. Like the conversation couldn't get going where people would actually respond more than once to each other. It was hard. It was very hard to really understand what was going on without being able to see them.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Sandy. Yeah. Did you feel that way? You were not responded to, like you were not attuned to, people were not holding space for you, accepting you for who you are? Okay. Getting lots of nods here in the room.
It felt like we each got reduced to a singular entity.
We got reduced to a
Which
singular entity.
Just feels like just a cliff.
Cliff. Yeah.
Like if you're only one thing, then no community can be in existence.
Yes. Yes. Okay. More people on Zoom. What did you notice? What did you hear?
I think I'm in another way re-articulating what Sandy said. There was no thread that followed through everyone talking. So for some of the logistical reasons of our experience, it was hard to follow. But what I was following, everything still felt very disjointed.
Yes. Yes.
That
So
people were attached to their own singularity.
Yes. Individualism and disconnection, disjointedness. Okay. Is that a word? Disjointedness? It is now. Hey, okay, great. Others on Zoom?
I just want to make it clear that I've got stuff to say, but I really want to let other people speak first. So
yes.
If somebody else is feeling called to speak, please either just unmute or let us know, and then I'll say some things.
And remember, your voice matters. You're welcome here.
I would say that what I noticed is it felt, and some of mine was deduction for the game, which was that people were responding to each other based on the label that they had. And I don't know, it brought me to like I totally did, like from now on when I'm talking to somebody, I'm literally gonna like try to visualize the label I'm putting on them, because yeah, I can see, and actually in terms of the Dharma Collective, me and Tia and Noam, we did that actually in the beginning when we tried to start it. And I'm totally thinking back to like, yeah, I had all these, visions of people, and I had a label on myself too, that how I presented myself in somewhere, how I felt like everybody thought of me. So I thought it was an amazing, wonderful, thing, and I was glad to see it. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Rita. Dana, were you trying to talk? We couldn't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. It was an interesting exercise seeing mainly your physical responses to what people were saying. Like I noticed that with Britt, you were so excited to hear what she had to say, wanted to hear more. Just like the, you know, the light in your eyes and your body language. And then you would recoil to what some other people were saying. So it was interesting perspective on Zoom just to see your bodily reactions and your verbal responses to people. And then realizing, you know, how we all do that in our everyday lives. So it was really powerful to see for me how I can assume things about people too. And so I'm appreciating this exercise, even from Zoom. So thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you see what kind of word we put on Brit, you will see why I responded that way to him. Yeah. Yeah. Sam, seems like you wanted to say something, like you were getting closer to the screen.
Sure, I'll just say something, which was I'm realizing, similar to what Dana said, it's like how I do have that, and I like what the other person said was about seeing people. I don't even realize I'm seeing people a certain way, and feels like it's an opportunity for me to see ways in which I'm still not sitting in discomfort very much. I'm just jumping to the solution, and so I'm wanting to move out of that kind of fear-based thinking into more openness. So it inspires me to have more openness. So thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Hold on. John, want to say something?
Yeah, it was interesting not being able to see everyone. I found my mind started this narrative where I was kind of rooting for certain people.
Haha. You were rooting for certain people. Yes.
Yeah, especially the ones who kept being either dismissed or like almost not validated for what they were bringing.
Yeah.
And then I noticed, certain voices continuing on about like, I've got this, we have to get on the same page before we move forward at all in any way. And it was really fascinating to watch my own reactions while this was playing out. So thank you all.
Yeah. You're welcome. There are 3 more people we haven't heard of. This is your chance. Your voice matters. You're welcome here.
Catalin, did you want to share anything?
Yeah, I was gonna say I just mostly noticed a lot of sort of the tension between like the practical concerns that people had around like finances and division of labor and logistical things about like where are we going to do this, and then people's feelings of like things they were fearful about or wanting to make sure there were shared values or but it was interesting because there's still nobody was instead of framing any of that of kind of like, oh, I kind of feel concerned that we might not all, it was mostly just a lot of kind of like labeling and assuming and projecting happening, which was interesting to see happening. Yeah, even without being able to read. And if we do another similar role play, I would suggest maybe, I don't know if folks on Zoom think it would be helpful to be able to see everybody even just once, like with the label. Maybe folks could kind of like step up to where you are, Alejandra, and like just show their label once. That would be super helpful.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was
we
wonderful.
will parade around you after. Yes, that's a great idea. Thank you.
The other thing that would be really interesting for the people online to do is to guess what the labels are by the way they're being by the way people are being treated.
Yes. Yeah. Not sure if Gabrielle wants to say anything. Heather, you wanted to say something? And Tia?
So mine was in response to what Sam said, which as she was speaking, I realized that for a lot of it, I was trying to figure out how I had been labeled and then to try and break out of that.
Yeah.
Right. Which that felt like very like unsettling Because I was like, wait, how have these people determined that they know me and they don't, like, as Brene Brown always says, you don't know me. So
Right.
it's like, I felt like a little bit of that, which is interesting to be an observation of.
Yeah, thank you. Tia.
Okay, I got to start with, it was so freaking disjointing to hear people react to other people in ways that conflict with the label I already have for you. That was so rough. And it was super interesting to watch it's a good gigantic project, right? So watching okay, we're just going to dive in somewhere, and the people who are like, can we have a shared intention and a process, even either overall, like the goal people, like goals came up 1, 2, 3, 4, like 6 times, like goals, and then shifting over to something else or a specific part of it, and yet no one gets Jimmy tried at one point, and I wish I'd been timing it so I could see how far in, that someone finally said, can we agree on a thing and a process to discuss the thing? And that was all so freaking interesting. And Rita had already chatted me, this feels very familiar from when we and it was also hard to think of it as a Dharma Collective project without layering on it kind of all the processes that we've already agreed on as an organization in the room, right? So when people were reacting to people kind of out of what our organizational agreements are about how we talk about if we were going to go find a place, it was so hard. But yeah, wow. Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you, everybody. Don't look at your words yet. Let's just
Okay.
take a
I also
moment.
got to say, we're all dying to know what everybody's words are.
Yes, we will. You will. We all will in just a second. Thank you, everybody, for being game and really stepping into the discomfort. And did you notice? Because some people kept looking at me and saying, you couldn't see it, the folks on Zoom, but some people kept looking at me like, after someone said something that reflected the label they had. Did you start noticing how people started becoming their labels? And this is the danger and the power of language. When we see someone through a label and only through that label, we are co-creating a reality in which gives the other room to then embody that label, which then, if it is a divisive label, it creates greater divisiveness.
I was going to say, even if it's not a divisive label, it creates internal divisiveness, because I know for myself and my family, smart, right? Organized, smart on top of it. Well, what happens to the parts of me that are messy, and vulnerable and emotional?
Exactly.
So it's like there's so much signal happening to me. It's like, it's just signal. Like you're not really present or able to listen to yourself or anybody else.
Yes.
Wait. Oh, sorry. Added layer to that, which is our own labels we have on ourselves.
Yes.
And how they, in a weird way, we reinforce our own labels, then reinforce people's reactions somehow. I mean, we project.
Right.
I'm not saying that very well, but you know what I mean?
Yes.
Vicious cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your name? Heather. I had a similar experience to Heather, thinking about how people perceive me immediately, but I found myself wanting to connect by actually embodying how people see me, so I'll fit in. So it will not be like weird, even though it's like a game here, but even in reality, I can sense that if I'm in a room and I'm the smart person, then I'm gonna be that person just to fit in.
Yes.
I noticed that.
Yes. Thank you. And so that brings us to how we react to the labels that others give us. Sometimes we try to defend, like you were saying, Heather, I am not that way. Sometimes our reactive pattern is to try to fit in. Oh, you want me to be that way? This is how I belong. I will do whatever I can to be that way. Sometimes it creates an internal split. I don't see myself that way. I am all confused. I'm overwhelmed. I don't get treated this way. I don't know who I am, right? And so many other ways of reacting to the labels we're given. So let's do a little parade. And first, and I'd love for you to, let's do a parade in front of Zoom. Take it off, show it to them, then take it off so that they can see your face when you look at your own label. So I'll demonstrate. So I have no idea what I have here, but so I'm going to show it to you first. And grouchy, what?
The best part about it is I watched him pick that intentionally. He was very amused with himself.
That was picked intentionally. Okay.
It was a happy accident.
And I would say I started feeling embarrassed. That's why I wanted to hide myself. Because, I was not allowed to be this. This part of me has not been accepted in me as a child. So, Thank you. So, next person. Shh.
I'm so damn curious.
Oh, I didn't see it on there. Okay, yes, I am pretty sensitive.
Yeah, and you were talking about feelings, and we were all like, yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yes, let's put him out of your pain. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Painful, right?
Well, it's so funny because you were so grouchy when we did something and you said, yeah, of course you would say that. Does she look at her?
No, I had no idea what I had. I'm so sorry. Yeah.
Just because I didn't watch the dishes.
Yeah, you said.
I mean, we can talk, right?
Yeah.
We can talk about that in my process.
Yes. Yeah. Yikes. She said yikes.
No, you definitely are.
I can't jump with the bit. Here goes. I'm doing a label reveal part. Oh, okay. Yeah, do I know somebody?
Yeah, so we kept asking you if you knew something.
God, it's like you know me.
It's like, let's give the mic to, it's like you know me. That's what Heather said.
Raja, I thought I'm dramatic.
You thought what?
I thought I was dramatic.
You thought it was dramatic, yeah.
I felt immediately.
Dramatic, yeah.
Anybody else?
Yeah, next.
Vicky?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So give the mic to someone else who hasn't gone yet.
I think I saw mine at the end of the thing though, but yeah, okay. Superficial.
I think it's something like critical or negative, but. Rude.
And it was so good.
Pretty, yeah, people really want to jump on me.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes
Makes sense.
That makes sense. Mm-hmm.
It's almost amusing that you're my last.
Yes. Britt, yeah.
When I saw Britt's card, I was a bit confused because, like, I feel like perfect sometimes has a negative connotation, or people say it in a way that's negative.
Yes.
So your reaction actually, like, made me rethink, like, how I should be perceiving that label.
Right. So if I consider perfect as something good, I clap and like, yeah, Britt. And if I consider perfect as something dangerous that I should envy, move away from, like it's too much, yes. Or neutral, yeah. Yes, okay. So the time has come for all of us to do a little writing activity. Let's take a piece of paper, and there's paper and pens there in the bucket, and yeah, let's collect them. Let's take our labels off because we're so much more than one label. These labels are, they're imprisoning. Yes, great word, Daza. They are imprisoning.
Yes, just for you.
Yes, thank you for asking, Tom. So we're doing writing just for us. We're not going to be sharing this with anybody, just with your heart. So let's think of a person, and maybe you can bring up your friend that you were talking about, that you said, I don't know who this friend is who, voted for Trump. So think about someone that you have been in this past week. It could be a person, or it could be a group of people. That you have been giving that person or that group a lot of labels. And on your piece of paper, I am going to ask you to write a line. So divide your paper in two. On the left side, write the list of labels you have given them. So it could be someone in your family, it could be a coworker, it could be a group of people who have behaved in a particular way. You felt a signal and you gave them a label or a group of labels, a variety of labels. So I'm going to give you about a minute. Write as fast as you can. Just stream of consciousness. What labels did you give them to that person? You can think of one person or a group of people. And we're not going to be sharing this out loud, so this is just for you. Mm-hmm. Just the left side. Just write the labels. You have about 30 seconds. Okay, does everybody have a few labels? Yeah, okay, great. So now I like to ask you to just read what you wrote. Don't read it out loud. Just read what you wrote and notice, how do you feel in your body when you see these words that you gave to this other precious human being? Just like you, another precious human being. You can answer out loud if you want to. How do you feel as a collective? How do we feel? And you can unmute yourselves and just share what feelings are here.
I feel very one-dimensional, like I'm not seeing the whole person. Like I know that I've
give
had
them-
experience. Oh, it's right by me.
Yeah. Like an ice cream. Yeah. So you feel one-dimensional.
Yeah, I feel like I'm not seeing the whole person, even though like maybe I've had some experiences that weren't like great. Like I know that there's definitely more to this person than just these labels that I have.
Yeah. Thank you.
I feel like the labels, I guess that's what you call them, labels, I feel like it's my way of trying, in this case, these communications, is trying to figure out who they are and how they can be where they are, where I'm so different. I mean, it's like, they're labels, and I don't think they're negative necessarily, even though I feel like they did the wrong thing.
So it sounds like it elicits the experience of curiosity within you.
Yeah, it's like, how did you get to that? How did that happen?
Okay.
As I look at the list, I'm struck by, well, first, after this exercise, a bit disappointed in myself for reducing this person to these labels.
Yeah.
And then the other is, as I kind of looked across the different labels, some of them I think I came up with on my own, but most of them were ones I adopted from other people.
Yes.
And then, that was even more disappointing. I think about the consequences of it, and I think, wow, this is an important exercise.
Yeah. Thank you.
Something that I noticed as I looked at this list is that I seem to have a propensity to look for labels that help me understand and identify where my own safety is threatened.
Yes.
Like where this person is going to keep me from being okay.
Right.
Rather than where this person is aiding in me being okay. That I think it's easier to access the things that threaten us than the things that actually enhance us.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I think when I'm able to pull back and reflect that they say more about me, it's a version of what you're saying. They say more about me and what I'm apt to project out onto another person, maybe because I'm uncomfortable owning those things inside myself.
Yes. Thank you.
I actually felt like my chest getting tight.
Yeah.
It was uncomfortable to look at them and read them. And for me, actually putting words to otherwise, which just felt like, oh, I know there's friction or like not a thriving relationship. It almost made me confront it more, which like, it's kind of like, oh, I am thinking these things about this person.
Yeah.
Which I hadn't like consciously realized.
Yeah. Thank you.
I think a little similar to what was said over there. My labels really tended to be defensive, and in particular, they were a reaction to me feeling like that person was labeling me.
Yeah. Anybody on Zoom?
My labels reminded me of why I'm not in relationship with the person that came up for me. That this is not the whole person, but there were enough experiences with aspects of that person that repeated that I had to draw a boundary. So that was an interesting piece, that these are qualities that if someone can't reflect on and grow and evolve with me, then we're not going to stay in relationship.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. So I gave you some clarity. Further clarity validated something. Yeah. You can put it on the chat too, and Tia will read it out loud. Yes, yes, Ben.
I noticed that as I was writing labels that were negative, I felt like guilty for applying those labels to someone. And I kind of had the thought exercise of like, I don't feel the contrary emotion when I'm applying positive labels to someone.
Yeah.
It's like when I think positively of someone, even if it's reducing them to labels, I'm like, oh, it's a good thing. And sort of trying to think of both of those in contrast to each other.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for that. And when we give someone only positive labels, the same thing happens. We're reducing them. And so then we feel disappointed if like Laura, you were bringing up like parts. We don't accept the other parts of that person because we've given them all these positive labels. And so then we don't accept them for the fullness.
I felt like when I was looking at the labels, felt like defensive about it because I was thinking, well, this is in response to a kind of an aggressive incident. And so it felt like I had to sort of justify, well, this happened. So that's why, like, that it wasn't just my being one-dimensional or narrow or whatever, that I wanted to sort of, justify myself that this was actually, if there's a good reason why I gave these labels. And, and they were about like sort of caution and those kinds of things.
Yeah. Thank you. So on the right side, and we have 3 minutes and we're going to finish in 3 minutes. So on the right side, take a moment to notice, what were you feeling when you got that signal that elicited these labels for the other person or group of people? What were you feeling? Yeah, internally. What were you feeling? Were you feeling? Yeah, to label these people, these individuals. Were you feeling hurt, sad, unsafe, angry, uncomfortable, confident? Were you feeling caring of maybe of yourself? Were you feeling curious, protected, protective? Okay. So I want to end with two things. If we're able to pay more attention to the signal, and we're able to, one of my teachers, Robert Babauta, says, if you can remember one thing, it's PRC, please remain calm. When you notice this feeling, can you remain, or this combo of feelings, can you remain calm with those feelings? Can you relax with these feelings that are temporary experiences? They will come and they will go. When you enter this room or when you hit enter to the Zoom space, you are feeling in one particular way or many ways that are different from how you're feeling right now. This morning when you woke up, you were feeling differently. Maybe you're still sleepy. Maybe you're not. Maybe you're more awake. So these feelings are temporary experiences, but when we don't relax with them, when we're not calm with them, we solidify them into labels that then create this whole vicious cycle. And the second thing, so I said I wanted to leave you with those things. So please remain calm with these feelings, with the signals. And number two, last week, I was in a beautiful talk with Lama Rod Owens. I attended the talk and Angela Davis. And Lama Rod Owens said, he was talking about people who have voted differently from us. You do not have to like them, but you have to learn to love them. We have to learn to love one another. It's the only way. Not only we're going to survive, but we're going to thrive and evolve. So in our families, in our relationships with ourselves. So what I want to invite you to do as we move into, in the US, the Thanksgiving holiday, and maybe we're considering who to get together with. Are we going to get together with family? Will they think differently? Can you go? Last workshop, we worked on intentions with the intention of, even if I don't like you or I don't like the decision you made, I am willing to be in the uncomfortable place of learning to love you. That's my invitation to all of us, myself included. So I will close with asking each of you just to say maybe one word, not even a sentence, but one word that you want to, that sort of captures how you are in this moment or how this workshop was for you.
Powerful.
Satiating.
Grateful.
Integrated.
Grateful.
Say it again. Both of you.
Reminded.
Yes.
Stay calm.
Grateful.
I was going to say connected.
Warm and relaxed.
Very present.
Brave.
Revealing.
Complex.
Grounded, I would say.
Humbled.
I don't have a word yet. I don't have a word yet.
Grounded.
More people in Zoom?
I've got some in the chat. Informative and powerful, and illuminating and reflective. And then do folks want to?
Full and calm.
Tenderizing and crystallizing. Integrated and happy.
More open and clear.
Thank you. Yeah?
+1 to reflective.
Say that again, Tia.
I'm going to +1 to reflective.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, my heart feels full and I feel deeply committed to being in loving service to all of you and to every single being in our precious, diverse human family. Thank you. Thank you so much. Do you want to talk about donations? And then I also want to say two more things. If you would like to continue this work, so our next workshop is December 8th, and we can give you all the dates, but you can also find them on the Dharma Collective. It's roughly the second Sunday of every month. I'm also offering a group coaching in which we work specifically with yours personal communication issues that you want to work with. We start in February. It's only open to 10 people, but now we have 8 places left. So there are only 8 places left. If you're interested, you can go to languagealchemy.com. And if you want some tools for the holidays, listen to the Language Alchemy podcast. There are 2 episodes that are really that can help you. One is how to, a lot of people are going to be anxious and are feeling anxious. So one of them is how to support people who communicate with anxiety. And the other one is if you are feeling anxious in your communication, that episode is going to be dropped this Wednesday.